at the Rancho Tehama Reserve in Northern California, killing 4 people and injuring 3 children. A week before that, a man in a room on the 32nd floor of the Mandalay Bay Hotel in Las Vegas shot at concertgoers, killing 59, injuring more than 500. Gun violence in the United States results in tens and thousands of deaths or injuries annually. In 2016, more than 250,000 people worldwide died as a result of firearms. And half of all those deaths from 6 nations, including the US. The right to bear arms. What does the Second Amendment actually mean? Does it mean to go on a shooting spree and shoot people aimlessly for no reason whatsoever? The answer is no. But I do wonder sometimes, all those senseless deaths, all that senseless violence, all that gun violence, for what purpose? The right to bear arms. The meaning of the Second Amendment right to the US Constitution. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. This amendment was ratified in December 1791. And the amendment says, and this was having just used guns and other arms to ward off the English, the amendment was originally created to give citizens the opportunity to protect themselves, to speak up and fight against a tyrannical government. An updated right from a very different time and need and purpose. It needs to be changed. The world has changed drastically in the last 20 years. Forget about the last 2 centuries. In the United States, areas where there is higher levels of gun ownership, there is higher rates of gun assault, gun robbery, and deaths related to guns. In 2010, gun violence across the U.S. cost U.S. taxpayers approximately $156 million in hospital costs. Much of these unnecessary, just because someone decided that they wanted to go on a shooting spree. There are more gun dealers in the U.S. than grocery stores, than pharmacies, than coffee shops. They're in comparison to Starbucks, as we all say that there's a Starbucks in every corner. There are 6 gun dealers to every Starbucks. Just imagine, there are 6 gun dealers on every corner. The USA alone owned 40% of all the guns in the world. That is 112.2 guns for every 100 citizens. Is there such an imminent threat and stress to the US that there's a threatening neighboring country that the US needs that many guns to protect themselves from? I think not. But whenever we even start discussing that there has to be more gun controls, there has to be more regulations, people go up in arms and say, you are infringing on my Second Amendment right. I have the right to bear arms. And you cannot tell me that it has to be regulated. And how about all the crime? And how about all the criminals? If there's no guns, how are we going to control all that? I say to you, there has to be another way. And there is another way. Not every country in the world uses guns to control crime. And some countries have gotten rid of guns altogether. For example, if you go across the Atlantic, you go to Japan. Japan, they put a gun owner through rigorous tests before they can even own a gun. There's strict laws, and there's seldom more than 10 shootings or deaths or results from guns in a year. If a Japanese individual wants to own a gun, they need to attend an all-day class, they need to pass an exam, they need to get 95% on a gun shooting range exercise, and they have to also go through a mental evaluation, and there's background checks, and there's third-party checks. And after all that, they can get a gun, but they can only have shotguns or arrow rifles, not a handgun. And they must take this class every 3 years. And that has resulted in a lot of gun controls and lack of gun violence. In China, there's heavily regulated firearms ownership. Private citizens are generally not allowed to possess firearms. Illegal possession or sale of firearms can result in 3 years in prison, up to lifetime for trafficking. Japan and China are good examples where the U.S. needs to consider before it's too late. A recent study showed that U.S. and guns are in a totally different world. If we take all the rich Western countries and have all the same population as the U.S., they would result to no more than up to 5 gun shooting fatalities per year. But the U.S., per day. In the U.S., it's 27 deaths related to guns a day. Guns control and regulation will bring reform. We need to fight the battle. The right to bear arms is outdated and needs to be changed. It needs to be changed to the right to live with no gun violence, to live with peace of mind, and not having to worry about being shot at or hearing massacres. We must rally the troops at this time for reform is now. Fellow Toastmasters, I am now open for a few questions. We do have a 2 or 3 minute question and answer period. So any questions?
You didn't talk about the NRA. You alluded to the NRA, but you didn't talk about them. Now, they're composed of 5 million members. Do you think, or how do you think they could reduce the influence of those 5 million people who drive the agenda for 330 million about guns?
And could you say what is the NRA again?
National Rifle Association.
Oh, okay, sorry. Okay,
That's the group that actually...
Yes, I just didn't know the acronym. For me, I know that change takes a long time. Like, it can't happen overnight. Now, reform can, like a single citizen cannot change this. It has to be from above. And the NRA, I guess, they're the ones who regulate all the gun control, correct?
No, they're the ones that are promoting the sale of guns.
They advocate. I'm totally, sorry, they advocate the sale. But I think it's really easy for someone to advocate the sale of guns if they haven't been through a disaster that results in guns. It's actually very difficult question to answer because I don't know how to get someone to see a different side of the picture. I think that people actually need to sit down and, like a lot of these people, they don't even know what, the advocates don't know what guns cost. Like they have an idea, but actually sitting down and actually looking at the stats, figuring out how this is affecting the country, I'm sure that you can get through to somebody.
I think, what do you think about statements where in the US, a 16-year-old can just walk up to a counter and purchase a firearm, get a license very easily, but can't get access to alcohol until they're 21, can go through a much more rigorous process to drive a car than get access to some form of firearm weapons. And I think that accessibility influences and drives the culture, plus the media. Everywhere you look in an American media, every problem is solved with a firearm. You want to unlock a door, you shoot it. You want to stop a conflict, you release a firearm.
You're supposed to ask a question.
So what do you think these kinds of media would, how do you think the media affects the culture?
Oh, I feel that the media affects the culture quite a bit. There's so much out there saying that they kind of advocate gun violence, not directly but indirectly. Like you have all these video games, you have all these shootings and everything. There's always something to do with guns. And that's, again, I'll go back to how this is a very outdated right. And I think that there has to be reform. And if it's so easy to get a gun, but not to get alcohol or to be able to drive, you seriously need, someone needs to sit down and actually think about that and say there has to be change. Because getting in a car and driving can be pretty dangerous, right? But having a gun and being able to use it and having access to it easily, that's even a bigger problem. And I feel that there has to be change. And how we get to that change, it's going to take a while, but I feel that there are people out there that don't want guns in their neighborhoods. But they need to, I guess, rally together and try and make change. Change does happen in this world, I know that. Because, well, 100 years ago, women were not considered persons. We did not have any of the rights that we have today. So people actually got together and fought for change. And that's what needs to happen with gun regulation. And I think we are actually out of time for questions. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you.